In this video, I want to talk about stress and the hormone cortisol, commonly known as the stress hormone. I'll be addressing an important point that I believe many people need to understand. I've often noticed that even when people are eating well, following healthy eating habits, taking supplements, and regularly exercising, they still struggle to come out of the fight-or-flight mode. If you pay close attention to this mode, the flight represents fear, the fear of something going wrong, and the fight is more emotional, involving anger, frustration, and resistance. During this state, cortisol and adrenaline levels in the body increase significantly. Staying in this heightened state for long periods isn't healthy. It leads to the shrinking of gray matter in the brain and affects the thymus gland, which is responsible for training T cells, a critical component of the immune system. Essentially, stress paralyzes the immune system. Muscles begin to shrink, known as muscle atrophy, testosterone levels start to drop, and even more concerning is that stress mobilizes proteins in the body and converts them into sugar. This happens because the brain signals that there is a threat, and more energy, in the form of glucose, is required to deal with it. In simple terms, the body starts to consume itself for fuel, thinking it needs high energy to fight the threat. As a result, blood sugar levels increase even if the person isn't eating sugar. Stress also affects digestion by shutting down pancreatic enzymes that help in breaking down food, making the digestive process slower. It reduces stomach acid production, which can lead to acid reflux, GERD, and even gastritis or ulcers. Bile production also decreases, making it harder for the body to digest fats. The pumping action of the colon, called peristalsis, slows down or stops, causing constipation. Sleep is also affected due to stress. These effects show how harmful stress can be. Everything else might be in place, but stress alone can wreak havoc on the body. Humans haven't evolved well to handle chronic stress. Our stress management is weak, and most of us haven't learned how to deal with it effectively. If you think about it, we tend to ignore the 99% of good things that happen throughout the day, and focus on the 1% that goes wrong. This is especially true at night when we try to sleep. Why? Because our brain is wired to think, problem solve, and analyze. That's not a bad thing. But there's a difference between problem solving and simply overthinking or worrying, which in medical terms is anxiety. It's important to recognize this distinction. Worrying about a problem is not the same as actually doing something about it. When you're just thinking and not acting, you're stuck in a state of indecision. Unfortunately, both our conscious and subconscious minds are trained this way. We fixate on one point and fall into analysis paralysis, which leads to constant mental stress. Whether we're at home on a day off or on vacation, our minds remain consumed with worries. Even while working, we think about our next break, and when we get home, we still can't mentally disconnect from work. That's the key issue. External stress exists, but how we react to it, how we let it affect us internally, is what determines the damage it causes to our bodies. Now, talking about stress management, I want to share an interesting study. In this study, researchers monitored the cortisol levels of 39 individuals involved in artistic activities for just 45 minutes. Some were making jewelry, others were photographing, working with clay, painting, or drawing. After these 45 minutes, their saliva was tested, and a noticeable drop in cortisol levels was observed. This really caught my attention because I've experienced it myself. Whenever I engage in creative work, like making these YouTube videos, my stress levels drop. I become completely absorbed and all my focus shifts. I've also noticed that even though people try deep breathing, meditation, or exercise to manage stress, sometimes these methods don't work. But as soon as they engage in a hobby or creative activity they enjoy, it genuinely helps. So, if you have a hobby, it's worth investing time in it.